When you're looking for recipes that use summer produce, it's really fun because a lot of times cookbook authors and creative people will take a recipe that means one thing and use something else in it and keep the original name. And that's what we have here. Today's recipe is called vegetable ragout. And when you look at the definition of a ragout, it's a meat stew. And this one contains absolutely no meat, and it's stuffed full of vegetables, which are optional in an actual ragout. What we're going to do is take about a tablespoon of olive oil, and we're going to get that nice and warm in our electric skillet, or your regular skillet. We're using electric simply because we're outside, but you can use just a regular big skillet inside. We've got 3 cloves of garlic, which is going to start to spread the smell everywhere and make this just a wonderful, odoriferous dish. And then I also have 1 nice yellow onion. Now, if it's sweet onion season, that's fine. You could use leeks in this, if you happen to have those. Green onions I probably wouldn't use, but any other kind is going to do. That's probably about enough. And we're just going to let those cook enough so that they really start to smell just great. So we're not really trying to soften them down. Now, using these kinds of vegetables, we are going to have a bean product in this. So while this doesn't contain meat, we have beans and corn, which do make this a complete protein dish, so that if you didn't want to serve meat, if it was just a little too hot and you're trying to conserve a little bit of heat or a little bit of energy, this would work very well without it, and could either be a lunch or a light supper either way. Or you could go beyond that and stir in a little bit of leftover meat, or serve it with a little leftover chicken or leftover ham. Now, also with this, I'm going to use lima beans, but you could use whatever kind of bean you happen to have. I've got frozen lima beans, and because I want these all to cook about the same length of time, I went ahead and cooked these, about 5 minutes in the microwave, just to get them started so that everything else wouldn't overcook while I'm waiting for these to get tender. You could use edamame if you happen to have some of the soybeans available. You could use canned beans, red kidney beans, or black beans would be great in here. I like the lima beans because they added a little bit of green color, and that was one of the colors that was missing from most everything else in this particular dish. Now, also, I've got some corn. Frozen corn, it works all right. Fresh corn, if you happen to have it. This is about a cup and a half, a cup of corn, somewhere in that area. I had about a cup of the beans as well. And we're just going to let those cook together a little bit. And then also to this, we have some shredded carrot. Now, you can do this multiple ways. You can actually buy little carrot bits in the market if you want to. I did these on a mandolin. You could do it on a grater. You could do it in a food processor. There are multiple ways to get to the grated point. Also want to add into this about a cup of low-sodium chicken broth. If you're looking for a vegetarian dish, I would probably choose a vegetable broth. And then also I've got about 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper, about 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt, which you could leave out if you're trying to keep the sodium down, and then a teaspoon each of dried tarragon, dried basil, and dried oregano. And we're going to bring these, just bring them up to a nice, see if I can shake the rest of that out. Bring that up to a simmer and for just a couple of minutes. And then we're going to add some squash. I don't want to add the squash now because I don't want it to overcook. So we'll let that come up to a simmer first. Okay, if you had used another kind of bean, you'll notice I used yellow squash, but you could have used a zucchini squash to give you that green color as well, and it would have looked equally pretty. I've got 2 to 3 cups of cherry tomatoes. Just going to stir those in, and we just want those to get warm. It'll take a minute or 2 for that to happen. If you let them cook any longer than that, then they go past warm to mushy and soggy. So you might want to leave them in a little bit more than I am. I'm going to go ahead and serve it up here. If you put it on a colorful plate, you notice that it is still juicy, and that's because it is still a stew. So what I would recommend is perhaps a spaghetti bowl or a soup plate to serve this on, and that way you can also get those juices, and then serve it with a nice crusty bread that you can actually use to soak some of those up. Sprinkle a little bit of parsley or tuck a little bit of parsley here and there, and you've got a vegetable ragout that uses a lot of the products that you're producing in your garden right now and that are available in farmers markets, And it's something that's good today, and it's also going to be really good tomorrow as the flavors take a little bit of time to blend. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.